Okay, this is Greg Andrup and Don Monofusco here for the Business Freedom Conversation live. I promise we're both live right now. We're not zombies or anything else, and we're here to give you good information. So I've invited Dawn here today because she's critical in your business experience. What keeps showing up is that we live in a social media age. But first, before I get into all that, let me just tell you a little bit about Dawn. So, Don Montefusco is a transformational writing coach with more than 20 years of experience helping people from all walks of life share their stories with the world. Drawing on her skills as a story editor and life coach, Dawn helps writers connect to their authentic voice, break through creative resistance, and create their best work. Her approach combines mindfulness practices with storytelling and creative writing techniques to help writers access their deepest truths and tell their stories more authentically. Recognized as a global leader in her field, Dawn's life changing, transformative programs, speaking platforms, and events have reached more than 100,000 people in 30 countries. She's the real deal. Dawn holds a degree from writing from NYU and an MFA in creative writing from Eastern Washington University. She earned her transformational coaching certification from Erickson College. So, as I was saying, Dawn is critical to your success as a business because in this social media age, people check you out. And if you don't have a story, people aren't going to buy your product, they aren't going to come into your restaurant, they aren't going to take your service. And all of that feeds into reviews. So Dawn helps you crystallize what you're about and how you put your face forward with your, what I like here in her bio is those truths, your deepest truths. That's what you need to be able to communicate to your customers in the social media age. So let me hand it over to Dawn, and Dawn will explain her approach and what you can do and how you can help yourself. Because what we're finding is in repeated surveys, 25% of you are reporting you're getting 0 job applicants to your job postings. And there's other problems related to sales and everything that relate to customers not knowing your story and what you're about and aligning themselves with it. Well, then your first step, if nobody's responding, it's because they don't know you. Dawn is going to help you write that story where they know you. So Dawn, take it away.
Hey, so what I love that we were talking a little bit off camera about some of the other statistics about inflation and about job applications and people not having reviews, not being seen, not being known. And it is kind of bizarre out there. Let's just take it from the social media age, perspective. When you can't find someone or you don't know anything about someone, unfortunately, that's a sort of a red flag. Like, how do I know about this person? And maybe their LinkedIn isn't complete, or they don't have any recommendations, or they don't know where to get that piece of the puzzle. So this goes for the solopreneur, the entrepreneur, and the job applicant. Quick story. I, in 2016, had 6 good friends die, and all at once, different deaths. And I went into a deep, deep, deep depression and grief and truly found myself living on a basement apartment on food stamps. And I was like, this sucks, because I had had a flourishing business as a business and professional life coach, personal life coach, but I couldn't coach and I couldn't really work. So I started to just say, well, I have this time. What can I do? A friend of mine said, let's make a bet. Let's write a short book. Now, I had no idea what it even was going to be, what it meant. And I was like, I'm really, really passionate about people telling their story, because people buy from people. They don't buy from businesses unless you're Apple or like Subaru or Tesla. But in general, people purchase when they know people. People hire people when they feel that they have a good sense of that person. And when you write a true story, usually I was like, you know what? I'm going to make my mess my message. I'm going to make my struggle my hero's journey. And it was just sort of a dream and a bet that we had. Okay, in 30 days, let's write a short book. It can be any amount of pages. And we had no idea about Kindle short reads. This was truly just a, what the heck, let's do it. So I wrote a book called Write Your True Story: How to Unleash Your Creativity, Share Your Message, and Inspire the World. I did all the work, all the research. I had no, assistance. I had nothing. I had lots of time, and I figured it all out kind of as a, an obsessive, well, I'm a writer. Let's get it out there. Let's see what happens. But I did have an email list. Okay. Now it was dropping because I hadn't been nurturing that email list. So I had about, at that point, maybe 300 people. Now I hired coaches and I have like 7,000 people on that list. And I highly recommend that you grow an email list, but that's a different story for a different time. But here I have 300 people. And I said to someone, that's not a big list. And they said, think about 300 people in your bedroom. I said, okay, that's a lot of people. So I was on Facebook. I mean, I still am, but that's mostly where I was living in terms of social media. And I said, okay, well, I'm just going to post my book, my link to my Kindle, and I'm going to send it out to my little list. And in 48 hours, I made $12,000. How the heck did I do that? Certainly wasn't in sales in 48 hours on a 99-cent book. What happened was I didn't realize people didn't know me. They knew that I have an MFA, that I was a writer, that I'm an award-winning poet. They get little pieces in there. They know that I was a life coach, but they didn't know me. When I figured out the formula on how to give information while telling a authentic and vulnerable story. Now, there's a difference between transparency and authenticity. I talk about that with my clients and in that book. Let's just say you don't have to give away the farm, but I was able to really get deep and take them on my hero's journey. Here's the mess I got myself in, but here's how passionate I am about writing your true story. And for each chapter of information that you can Google, I added me in it. So I started telling them little bits of my childhood, little bits of growing up, how I was very resilient, how I become very resourceful, and how I loved helping others, and how I had helped others in telling their true story, and they shared their story, and blah, 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 blah. And if you want to get in touch with me, here's my email. Here's a way you can take action. Sign up for a free consultation. Let's see if we want to work together. And it was just sort of a, let's see what happens kind of thing. Well, that obviously knocked me back into gear. Eventually, I hired a business coach who helped me grow my email list. And I thought, there's something to this short book because we're getting inundated with so much information. It's not that our attention spans are getting smaller. I want us to be very clear here. You might be thinking, oh, everybody's ADHD or nobody wants to read long form. Actually, if you look at the statistics, billions of people are buying long form books and reading them. That's neither here nor there. This is a totally separate thing and it's working. Why would people want to take in a short book? Because we have so much information coming at us that it feels so good when we can get that information and know that we can finish that information with a story, get to know the writer and the author who might be able to help us. Then that is like well, I want to pay. I want to pay this person. I want to share this person and tell everybody about this person because this book just changed my life. And that's what I got a lot. People like, oh my gosh, your book made a big difference in my life, changed my life. Now I understand how to write my true story, or I want to hire you, or this and that. And I thought, gosh, that's just really, really interesting. And so eventually, I came up with this idea, oneshortbook.com, and I put this program together, and my clients are reaching bestseller, writing books of 40 or 50 pages, many of whom are entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. And then they have the call to actions and they get and attract, right? They attract the people who want, their best and ideal clients. They also get reviews, and there's a way to do this so that, if you write it right, and I know how to teach people how to write it right. And you're really, you get deep into your truth while you're giving information, and it's your experience on that information. It could be a woman who's talking about brain health and food. I probably would never read that book. It was called The Vegan Brain. I'm not a vegan. 40 pages. She hit bestseller right away. I was like, well, she's one of my clients. I was like, I guess I'm going to read the 40-page book on brain health. And it's interesting because you make a difference as you allow people to know because what she went through, of course, is how she discovered it. And it can be anything. It could be gardening, pest control. It could be, dating coaches, financial advisors, any industry. You write a short book about your experience. Usually your message. You don't want to just brag and be like, I'm so great. Because if you do that, then what happens? People say, oh, well, they did it because they're different. They're special. They never had a hard day in their life. You don't want that. So it's the way that you write your short book that allows people to connect really deeply with you. And then you give them information, just enough. And then they want to work with you more. So that's one model of what happens. You get an author central page. You get reviews, and there's a way, again, to build a launch team. There's a way to build a team that will give authentic reviews. And then there's ways to put that onto your LinkedIn. There's ways to grab pieces of that short book, put it in your bio, use it in emails. Again, you're attracting people into your story while you're giving them information on what you've learned and how you can better their lives based on your individual industry. Now, if you're a job seeker or you're looking for someone, think about the power of that short book. A short book actually allows you to have a better footing in the job industry, in whatever job you want, employment industry, I guess, and know what you're about. So the employer knows what you're about. And again, we're looking at three things that almost every short book from an entrepreneur really has in it. Resilience, to get through a hard time. Resourcefulness, how did they make it through, whatever it was. And then how do they pivot? Right? Because what we're looking for is people who really know how to pivot in this world, especially in the technology age. And it doesn't even have to be about technology. It's about, do you have that ability? So now when you post that up, or people read the reviews, or even the back cover of your book, now you have a voice. They see you have good communication skills. They want to know you more. They feel that they already know you. And so when that time comes, let's say, you're a solopreneur and you're tired of working alone and you really want to join forces with a team, a short book, well, wow, a team will want an author of a short book. And here's the story. Wow, we know this person now. And that's going to be a really fast and better hire than just these, floaty interviews or being ghosted. So on so many levels, I know that I've covered, but a short book is really a ticket, a calling card that's so interestingly like durable, important, and lasts. It lasts. You can write many short books. How long is a short book? Everybody wants to know this. So a short book ranges from 10 pages to 100 pages. And that is the short reads category in Kindle. The short reads category in Kindle, or a short book, is an unsaturated market as opposed to, well, it's saturated, but not nearly as saturated as regular sized books in Kindle. So when you go to the short read section and you scroll down, and I teach this to my clients and when I have webinars and all that stuff, you'll see that a book that's a bestseller in business and finance for maybe 4 weeks, you'll see the categories it's a bestseller in, but then you'll look at the regular Kindle ranking and it's like 517,624. Not even close to bestseller. But when you have a short read or a short book bestseller, could be 12 pages, could be 40 pages. I recommend reading some of these to get, your footing on that. You'll notice that it gets pushed out. So what happens is Amazon then pushes your book out. So when someone buys a finance book, they're going to suggest your short book. In the unlimited Kindle section, for people who are buying into unlimited Kindle, they're still getting a cut. So Amazon is getting a cut. So Amazon's going to go, wow, this book is going to make us money. And since it's a bestseller, let's get it out there. Also, If you have a series of books, and I'm just going to say this briefly, that tends to be a really powerful thing. So if you want to do a series of any industry, anything, okay, and I'm telling you anything, and here's how I know. There are 600,000 books a year approximately that come out. Something like, or more now, but something like 250,000 of them are about weight loss. So if you think your book has already been written, if 250,000 books on weight loss come out every year and many of them get sold, obviously your story and book hasn't been told in your way. So regardless of industry, I want you to think that way. If you want to cut hair and you want to have a salon, what, you're not going to open a salon because there's 14 salons in your city? Of course you're going to open a salon, or you're going to be a mechanic. I mean, it's you. People want you. And so when you think about writing a short book, the way that you write it is the way that it can never be Googled. You write it from your heart, with your truth, with the journey, right? There's a certain journey that you're taking your reader on. And it's one of the most amazing journeys that you will go on. So it's not just about them, which we want to, we always want to give, and give to give, but it's also about your journey. And really recognizing the journey you've been on, the success that you've had, and your desire to help others. So there's a real, back and forth connection that's happening, especially even with job seekers and people who are looking to fill positions. There's this connection feeling that you just can't get any other way. And I want to make this very clear. You don't have to be a writer in terms of that you say, well, but I'm not a writer. And the reason is, I want to say this very clearly. There was a professor that went to work every day, and his little girl finally said, Daddy, what do you do at work? And he said, I teach people how to draw. And she says, you mean they forget? And that's the same for writing. I believe anybody who has a calling or a desire to write, if the creator gave you a desire to do that, you will be successful in doing it. Writing is a skill like tennis. You can learn how to write a very good story in a short space with your skill set and what you've done in your industry to attract that in. And let alone the podcasts you can get on, the interviews you can get on. Once you get an Author Central page, you have a bio where you can say that you're available for these things. I go over all of this. If you want to know more, just before I forget, you can just go to helpmedawn.com. We put together a page where you can go and find out and schedule a free strategy session with me, either on the short book or on business coaching. You can even just go on my mailing list so you never miss a thing, such as my new book. So one of the main things that I help people with, and I think this applies to life as well as writing, I mean, I know it does, is cracking the resistance code, how to break through the fear of uncertainty and write your book. So one of the things that I am masterful at, and I'm giving myself credit for this, is I get people out of resistance. So when our emotions take over, we get into resistance. And I finally put all of my techniques and all of the things that I've taught and worked with clients into this short book that will be coming out May 4th. So if you want to get the book or a copybook or know when it's there, you just go to helpmedawn.com, or you can go to thedawnlist.com, and you can just get on my list. And you can get a copy of the book. And I'm more than happy to give you even a free copy of my Write Your True Story book, the book that launched me. I'm happy to give that link and that PDF to Greg, and to anybody that wants it can write in the comments, send me the PDF of the Write Your True Story book, because that was the book that actually tells my story, and it tells you how to write a good true story. I'm happy to give that one away, even though it's on Kindle, for Greg's audience, as a thank you for having me here. Back to you, Greg. Any questions?
Well, hold on a second. Oh, look at that. That's good. Well, thank you, Dawn, for filling us all out on that. And I can't reiterate how important this is now. What do you think about all the new things with AI? Because
Okay,
I'm seeing people trying all this stuff, and it's
I
really...
gotcha. I have had AI. I was an early adopter. So I was
Ooh.
a very early adopter of AI. called Jasper. And Jasper is a paid for, very amazing, not free. They might have a free thing now because they might be competing with Chat GPT. And there's some free AI software out there. So don't quote me on that. But Jasper is far superior. It's a much deeper system of AI for businesses, bloggers, businesses, writers. I mean, it covers everything. So I was an early adopter, got the great lifetime price. And then I've been following what's going on. Well, here's what happens with AI. As some of you may have heard, California it has this thing called the Great Bloom, right? And it's the super bloom because California had more rain when I moved here, ironically, than it has had in 50 years. Okay. So here's what happened. Me and my buddy, we looked up on 4 different articles where to go in Southern California to see the Great Bloom. And one of them was a place called Borrego Springs, and it's a desert, and it's 2 hours away. The closest one is closed. It's a smaller state park on Mondays. And we thought, if we go on a Monday morning, nobody will be there. We'll get to see the Great Bloom. This will be awesome. So we drive 2 hours at 5 a.m. on Monday morning to go see the Great Bloom in the middle of the desert. And we're talking, it's 90 degrees there all of a sudden. Like we are in the thick of California desert. We're talking to rangers. We're talking to people. There are no flowers. And I mean, we spent 4 hours driving around every single hike possible. And the rangers even looked at us a little weird, like, well, there's sunflowers. You can see we are having sunflowers. Their idea of sunflowers, I took the 6 pictures of the 6 different flowers that we saw. So we're driving home and exhausted, right? We've been hiking we're all patted down with sand. My dog's tired. I was like, I'm trying to hold it in because I really want to just like scream. Like I wasted half of my Monday, like trying to find flowers. And I'm saying, where's the disconnect? And I thought, oh my goodness. All those articles were written by AI. And AI went and said, Southern California state parks. There's the list of Southern California state parks. They changed the beginning of each article, but no one did the human research on which Southern California state parks actually had flowers. So there's where AI failed. And so it's interesting because I use it, but I use it in a way where it sparks. I've been using, how I've been using AI since 1992. I've been using AI since 1992. This is how I use AI. I go like this. I go, I don't know what to write about. Let's see. Is there something about business in here? Yeah. Okay. Here's some self-publishing. I have all my business books over there, but I don't know what to write about. I should write an email about publishing. Writing your book blurb. And she's my publisher. So she wrote a book called Self-Publishing Success. However, I'll read hers. Okay. All right. Cool. I like how she said that. I'll start typing out some sentences, changing some words around so it's not plagiarism. And then it's going to spark an idea about me. And then I'm going to start writing in me into what is then the AI, which is just copying other people's stuff, but not exactly. So not doing the plagiarism thing. It's sparking ideas. So with AI, if you only rely upon AI, and I know this because companies have come to me to say, do you still write? Because I used to write for websites, and I'm like, no, unfortunately not. They're like, because all this AI stuff is just generic sounding, and you know us. And I thought maybe, I'm like, don't do that anymore. But I did look over their stuff, and I was like, wow, this is so obvious. It's so.
Well, that's why I brought it up. We're telling people that you're not getting job applicants, you're not making sales, you're having issues because people don't know who you are. And if you're going to survive in the social media age, they have to know who you are and connect. And that's very unique. You're not going to have some, piece of
Here's
software.
An idea. I want to tell everybody out here to use this idea. This is hilarious, but it works. Any social media platform, I don't care. Just write the word Brussels sprouts with a question mark. I've done this. I've done this every year. I do it every year, and I get more engagement with my social media. We start talking about recipes. Oh, yuck, or this or that. AI can't do that, right? Then you can say somebody will go, oh, you're so, someone will mention something about writing, and I'd say, hey, you want to jump on a call? Go to helpmedawn.com. I was like, and you can get, just jump, pick one of there's 2 different consultations, one to write a short book and one for business coaching. And they're both kind of the same if you're an entrepreneur, but, and so you can, I mean, like, there's no, like when I wrote my post about moving to California, yes. Mm-hmm. Did I go to AI? A little bit. I was like, how boring is this? So I actually wrote a paragraph. This is funny, about driving here and all the rain and just telling my audience, where I was going and just kind of engaging them, not trying to sell them. You want some value in there. You want to get to know them. Not everything can be an offer. But then you make offers. And I realized when I generated the AI that my paragraph was actually better because it was about me. AI took me literally out of it. And then started saying we and the company and this. I'm like, no. This is about me. Like,
well, that's why it's critical. Another thing that I think is beneficial is people want to know why you started your business. Mm-hmm. What problem were you going to solve? What caused you to do it? What hurdles did you have to overcome? Mm-hmm. And every one of these pieces of your story can be posts, can be in your marketing materials. Because people are going to relate to that experience and then they're going to want to do business with you. Employees are going to see what you're about and why you wanted to serve whatever community you serve. Mm-hmm. And then they're going to want to work with that. And the benefit of that is you're getting real people. Remember the numbers today. Yes. 50% of all employees are just treading water. Okay. 32% of employees are engaged. Okay, so only 1 out of 3 of your employees are engaged. 18% of all employees are actively disengaged, which means they're collecting a paycheck and they're trying to hurt your business at every opportunity they get because they don't like you, they don't relate to you, whatever. Well, having your story and using this to attract people to work for you will improve those odds. Because it's pretty tough when you think that you have 50% of the number of people that are actually working against you, and then and half of everybody is just treading water. So being able to tell these stories where people will be attracted to you and relate to what you're trying to do and relate to how you got to where you are is going to improve every aspect of your business.
People will be breaking down your door to work for you. Literally.
Exactly.
That one short book will, I can't even begin to tell you, the late Tony Hsieh, he wrote a book, I think it was called something like Discovering Happiness, but he started Zappos. And he couldn't get enough. He had so many applicants. He didn't even know what to do with, because he wrote this beautiful book about how, he couldn't stand the culture of a business he started. And he realized it was more important for his business to have a community that worked together. And he wrote his story, and then all of a sudden people flocked to him. So it doesn't have to be a long book. That was then, yes. But people buy from people. People want to work with people. Connection is currency now. Connection.
Exactly. And I think what you've said a couple times here is people buy from people. People work with people, and it's those interrelations why we all like business. And if you want to make sure that those relations work, you have to put your stake in the ground and say, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. This is how I got here. And just simply doing that. And Dawn has all the tools. So this gets posted everywhere. And I'm going to have all of Dawn's links I always have the thing on top of the video.
I have a couple I wrote. Helpmedawn.com will get you the free strategy calls. And if you just want to get on the list, so you don't miss any offers, anything that I'm getting, the book launch. If you don't want to miss anything, you just go to thedawnlist.com, stick in your name and your email, and then you'll get obviously on my list. But if you want to talk to me, just go to helpmedawn.com.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Dawn. You're a fabulous guest. This is really important. Everybody out there, I want you to think about it, because if you're not having the success that you want, this is the starting point. So think about it. Thank you very much, Dawn. I really appreciate you being
You're
back
awesome.
on. And
Talk to you soon.
we'll see you again.
Okay, bye.
Bye. So